Hello, everybody, and welcome. My name's Ian Broom, and you have joined the webinar from Fliplet AI for app creation. So I'm your host for the day. We're going to cover a few things today. We're going to cover AI news, just a brief update, but AI news that I think is relevant to people who are using Fliplet or want to use Fliplet's AI features. We're going to talk a little bit on AI security and a bit of a privacy update. I've been reading some exciting terms and conditions from various providers, so I want to share what I found with you. I'm going to then show you a few demos around how you can improve your apps with AI and how to build apps faster with AI. And I'm going to talk a little bit about what we've got planned in the future. So if you have any questions at any point throughout this webinar, please just click the QA feature inside Zoom and ask it. It could be a question, you could be suggesting a topic. Your questions will not be visible to everybody. They will go privately to the organizers of the webinar. And if we don't have time to address your question or your topic, it gives us an opportunity to then follow up afterwards. This is our second AI webinar. If you missed the first one, you can watch it on demand at fliplet.com/webinars. The previous webinar covered the different types of AI technologies available, the risks of AI in business, how AI can be used within Fliplet apps to help your users, and how AI can be used to help produce apps quickly. I'll be touching a little bit on some of the content that we covered last time, just because looking at the registration numbers, the majority of people who are attending this webinar did not attend the previous one. Yeah, if you did attend the previous one, it shouldn't take more than a couple of minutes for me to kind of cover off the material you previously saw. So what is Fliplet? So I'm just going to show you a bit of a video while I explain what Fliplet is. So Fliplet is an online tool that enables you to very rapidly build web and mobile apps. It supports no code and code, which is a bit unique in our space. It also has a number of pre-built screen templates, as you can see here, and it also has some pre-built complete solution apps as well. So you're able to kind of either build something from scratch with Fliplet, but you can also get going with some of the existing things that we already have. And there's a free account available if you want to have a play with Fliplet, but you're not yet a customer. So don't be shy. Feel free to visit our website and sign up if you haven't played with it yet. Now there we go. So what are the benefits of combining Fliplet with AI? So Fliplet offers the following benefits and makes it well suited for integrating with AI capabilities. So firstly, Fliplet already stores data and files on behalf of our customers. This makes it therefore very easy to use the information that's already in Fliplet and integrate it with AI. You don't have to build new infrastructure. You don't have to figure out all of the technical and security issues that you might need to do if you were building your own solution from scratch. The second is Fliplet secure and compliant. We're certified by ISO 27001, and we're regularly audited. We have experience integrating safely with third-party APIs and AI, and we've recently announced our OpenAI API. That's difficult to say fast. You can learn more about it at that URL. And we've deliberately built our AI API so that we can incorporate with other technologies in the future if AI proves not to be continuously the kind of preferred solution by our customers and ourselves. We're also building out a set of pre-built AI features that you'll be able to use, and I'm going to demo some of them today. AI isn't very fast. You'll see that in the demos that I show you in a moment. One of the key things that I think is really going to help customers use AI more inside, say, Fliplet Studio or apps built with Fliplet is that they can manage the reliability and speed of AI. So one of the great things that you can do with Fliplet is you can store the result that you get from AI and then access it very quickly without having to go continuously back to AI asking for the data you've previously received. We also have a set of complementary features such as notifications, analytics, branding, etc. These features can be used to customize your app, and they complement AI. AI doesn't necessarily offer those capabilities. And Fliplet produces native mobile apps and web apps, enabling you to distribute your new AI features very rapidly. So let me jump into some AI news. So as you may be aware, Bing Chat has now been available for a little while. It came out pretty soon after they did their big $10 billion investment into OpenAI. This means that you can access it. You have to use the Microsoft Edge browser, but that's fine. It's available free on all platforms. And if you're running a Windows machine, you probably already have it on your computer. All you need to do is go to bing.com and click on chat, and if you want to use it. Recently, they added an image generation using DALL-E, which is pretty cool. I've been playing around with it. My daughter in particular really likes it. They've announced that they're going to be adding plugins and richer results coming soon. And they've also, inside Bing Chat, they've got what they call a compose mode that enables you to produce relevant material that you can then load into, say, Office 365, Gmail, or other web apps such as Fliplet Studio. Google Bard is now available to everybody. Originally, when Google Bard was released a couple of months ago, it was okay, but not as good as ChatGPT. It's gotten a lot better recently. If you haven't had a play, I recommend you go and try it out. It can search the web, and Bing Chat can also search the web. Sorry, I forgot to mention that. Google has announced that plugins and rich results are coming soon, and it's already got a very simple integration with Google Docs and Gmail. So when you produce a result that you want, it's just one click and it'll take it over to that relevant piece of software for you. ChatGPT has been working hard on kind of building out a really large database of plugins. And just today, I noticed that my GPT Plus account got access to the new beta feature that allows ChatGPT to also search the web. So they've kind of caught up with Google Bard and Bing Chat. One of the other really cool use cases that I've been playing around with and discussing with my colleagues is icon generation. And I think this is going to be a really exciting way in which we can all use AI. So the first thing is, if you're not a professional designer, you probably find it hard to generate professional looking icons. As you can see, AI makes that pretty easy to do by just asking it to generate an icon and asking it what you'd like the icon to include. The other cool thing is, once you find a style that you like, you can then figure out a way to ask it to generate other icons of similar styles. So for example, geometric shapes. You can generate a whole library of different icons, and then that would give you a bank of icons that you can use as you build out different apps. This is really exciting because it's not just about generating a single icon and then having to try to generate maybe a similar icon again in the future, but you can actually ask it, you know what, generate me lots of different icons of geometric shapes in these brand colors, and it'll do that for you. And you can just keep asking it to regenerate new ideas all the time, build out a bit of a collection, store them, and then use them whenever you're ready. So you'll start to see image generation features added into Fliplet Studio soon. And we believe that this will really help people, particularly who are not professional designers or who don't have access to professional designers, to create really professional looking icons for their apps. As you can see, AI is quickly becoming much easier to access and smarter. And as I think we all forecasted, much more readily available to members of the public and people inside companies. So as I promised, I was going to give you a bit of an update on privacy and security. So it's changing really fast. So firstly, OpenAI a couple of weeks ago announced that they had added to ChatGPT a disabled chat history feature. And this basically means that anything you now put into ChatGPT will not be used to train their models. This is really important if you want your data not to end up showing up in somebody else's results. This was previously available, but you had to use the API, which is what Fliplet uses. Google, now that they've launched Bard, they've updated their terms of use. What they state is that any information that you enter into Bard, they can use to train Bard. They also state that you will not input any personal or sensitive information, including names, phone numbers, addresses, emails, or birth dates into Bard. I think that's interesting. Only because OpenAI doesn't specify those restrictions. And as I previously mentioned, they now allow you to opt out of your data being used to train their system. So at the moment, Google doesn't allow you to opt out of that using Bard, but ChatGPT does. And now if you look at Microsoft, their terms for Bing Chat state that you cannot use anything that you create, including the images, using their image generator for commercial purposes, which I find a little bit confusing because they've got this compose feature, which encourages you to generate work-related content and then copy and paste it into your documents. Yet apparently, according to the terms, you cannot use it for commercial purposes. The second thing is that they state that not only can they use your data to train Bing Chat, but they can also do anything else they want with it. It's a very broad statement in their terms. So I've included the links down the bottom. They're very small. I apologize if you're unable to read them. If you'd like a copy of these links sent to you, just pop a message in the QA feature and we'll email them to you afterwards. It's worth noting that out of these 3 different providers, Microsoft terms seem to be the worst, which is a little bit surprising. I wonder if it's because what they really want you to do is go and use their Azure commercial AI products, which have different terms. But I think one of the reasons why I'm bringing it up in this forum is because I think the vast majority of people will be accessing AI through Bing Chat, through Bard, or through ChatGPT, and obviously using Azure or APIs from Google or APIs from OpenAI requires more involvement, more technical knowledge. So therefore, it might be worth just taking these things into consideration. It's also worth noting that these terms are changing very quickly. So yeah, as I say, if you'd like a copy, just drop a message in chat. I can see a couple of people have requested them already, and we'll send them to you following the webinar. Okay, so just as a reminder, Fliplet currently is using OpenAI as our AI API of choice. And this is because it's the best tool currently available. Both Bing Chat and Bard are not currently delivering as high quality results, although they are getting better very quickly. Secondly, OpenAI does not use Fliplet or customer data in training its software. Because we use the API, none of the information that we pass to it can be used for training. That's not necessarily the same with the other providers. And then 3, it allows commercial use of the output. It states in its terms that you're welcome to use it commercially. So for these 3 reasons, OpenAI is still the best API that we're able to integrate with. But as I mentioned already, we are going to consider other AI APIs or other AI tools as they become available. We're not restricting ourselves to only working with OpenAI. Okay, so let's jump in and talk about Fliplet's newest AI features. Don't forget, you can ask questions at any point, and if we don't have time, we'll get back to you, but we want this to kind of address as many of your questions as possible. And of course, if you have any topics that you would like to see us cover in future webinars, we're more than happy to consider them. So please send them over. Okay, so a bit of a brief update. In the last webinar, we said that there were kind of lots of different potential features that we could use for AI, but we were thinking of them basically in 3 different categories: short-term, mid-term, and long-term. Short-term features were mainly going to be simple prompts. They were low risk for customers and low risk for Fliplet because they didn't really require any significant data to be provided, or they didn't require any data at all. And I'm going to show you 2 of the short-term features that we've been working on today. Next, we had midterm. So this could be an example of it needs to interact multiple times with AI in order to deliver its result. And it might have an increase in risk or an increase in complexity, therefore more testing, more time, and obviously more explanation to users before they use the feature is required. And then finally, we had long-term. This is going to require AI to have third-party integrations. This will probably via the plugin systems that I've already mentioned that most of the AI providers are already working on. And this has higher risk because it's not just about passing data to the AI technology. It could be about passing data to the AI technology that then passes it on to third parties. And obviously that introduces significantly more risk and would require much more analysis before we're happy to launch those features. So that's how we're thinking about the kind of breakdown of features and complexity. And we've currently been working on what we describe as short-term features. So I'm now going to jump into a bit of a demo. And this demo is going to show you basically how we start to generate screens and data that can power your Fliplet apps. It's going to automate screen creation from the data source. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to tell it what data I want. It's going to generate a data set for me. Then it's going to build a screen with a form so I can create or edit more data. Then it's going to build a list from data source or a list screen, which means I can browse, search, edit, and delete records in my data source. In summary, it's going to generate data, give me the ability to interact with that data via a form, give me the ability to browse that data, and also manage it. And this is all going to be done by a combination of Fliplet existing APIs combined with AI. So now another thing I'm just going to say is everything I'm about to show you is beta. These features are really hot off the press. We've been actively working on them even today before the webinar. The other thing that I would also note is the demos aren't slow. So bear with me while I kind of give you a bit of information about what's going on while they're running. So this is our AI data generator. If you guys joined the webinar early, you would have seen Deb talking about his experience using AI. Deb's been the primary developer behind this feature. And so what I'm going to do is I'm able to pick lots of different example data sets. So for example, if I pick a list of staff, it provides me with a bit of an example of this is the data that I'm going to ask AI for, and I can change it. So if I don't want let's say that I want it to include office. We'll call it primary office. And then all I do is give it an example, London. And now what I've done is I've provided it with a bit of an example. Actually, I've just realized that I'm giving it a US address and I'm giving it London. Let's see how it copes with that. But that's how easy it is to tell AI, this is the type of data I want. I can then tell it how many records I want to generate. This can sometimes be a little bit iffy. We've found if you ask it for like too many records, the API can time out. So we're going to intentionally keep that low for the demo. I can then explain kind of what do I want this data source to be called. So I'm going to call this kind of London staff. And then I can ask it, do I want it to generate a form? And do I want it to generate a list screen? I want it to generate both of them. And I also get to pick what style of list. So I can pick the small list, which is good for lists of people, equipment, offices. I can pick a large list, good for news, blogs, or long content. Or I can just pick an agenda list, which is good for event agendas, calendar items, etc. So I'm going to stick with the small list, which is good for people, which is kind of correlated to my data. So now I'm going to click generate. Okay, now everything slows down. So what's basically happening is behind the scenes where we're taking an example of your data, we're taking information about the restrictions that Fliplet wants AI to conform to, and we're basically constructing a prompt. And now what we're doing is we're sending it over to OpenAI behind the scenes. Now, what OpenAI does is it receives all of this information via the API, and it then interprets it and follows our instructions if we're lucky. And does exactly what we ask of it. Well, now, one of the things, if you're considering incorporating AI into your own apps, which is kind of our hope, which is the main reason why we built an AI API that's available to all Fliplet paying customers, the key reason why we've kind of built this capability in is so that customers are able to build their own prompts. And so one of the things that we were discussing earlier this week is how important is it that, for example, we protect the prompts or that we share the prompts for the data generation with our customers? And what we've realized is actually it makes a lot of sense for our customers to be able to see how we're structuring our prompts. I'm not going to go into how the prompts work. If you're interested to see kind of how the prompts are working, we're very happy to kind of explain how you can use this demo and look at the code and see the prompts, etc. It's also worth noting that these demos aren't available yet, but I'll talk about when we're going to be making these demos available very soon. So as you can see, it's processing the request and it says, please be patient. So I'm kind of filling time. It's probably taken about a minute now. And you can see here that it has successfully generated our data and it's saved our data to a data source. The next thing that it's going to be doing is it's going to be building my form screen. Now, what it does is it takes all the information about Fliplet's form builder component and it provides that in a structured format to OpenAI. OpenAI uses that along with an example data to make a judgment on what fields should I put into the form. So the entire form is built through AI making the decision about what we include. And based on our experience, it's very good at figuring out what it should include. And I'll show you the form in a second as well. These messages are popping up because I'm inside Fliplet Studio and this is literally building new screens in my app. This message is kind of part of our kind of core developer features inside Fliplet Studio. If you were running this in a web app or inside a live app, you wouldn't see this. And it's now generated the form and now it's building the list screen. So this should be done very soon. Just while I've got you, next Fliplet Summit is coming up. Fliplet Summit is our biannual kind of big product update and feature announcement webinar. I will be doing a keynote presentation about the impact that AI is probably going to have on low-code, no-code tools, apps in general, and also app maintenance. So if you're interested in kind of more of a macro discussion around how AI is going to affect products like Fliplet or other tools that you have inside your organization, you might want to attend. So as you can see, it now says that it's generated the form screen, generated the list screen, and it's now completed. Now, because I'm inside Fliplet Studio and Fliplet Studio's screen list doesn't update in real time, I just have to quickly refresh. Oops. So I'm just going to switch quickly back into preview mode. Oh, actually, I think I do need to refresh. Okay, cool. So now we're back, and you can see here that it's generated my form. So let's have a look at my form. So if I just jump into edit mode, and I click on this, you can see that it's automatically put in the first name, the last name, the email, the title, the primary office, and address fields for me. And if we click on email, it's created an email input field. If we click on, say, primary office, it's assumed that it's a text input, which is correct. That's exactly what I would have decided as well. So it's basically AI has decided what field types to put here. And that will now work if I wanted to use it in updating the data source. Now I'm going to just jump back into preview mode because I don't need to show you the settings anymore. And you can see here, this is the data that is generated for me. So let's have a look at some of the records. So here it's generated Isabella Anderson, Isabella at company.com. Isabella is apparently a product manager, works at Pine Street in Shanghai, China. I'm not sure that Pine Street is an appropriate name for Shanghai, China. Their last name is Anderson. And their primary office is Tokyo. So as you can see, it's clearly assumed that because I gave it London and Texas, these two things don't have to correlate. And let's just have a quick look at another entry. Here's Lucas Garcia. They are in Rome, Italy, and their primary office is Berlin. So as you can see, it's done a pretty good job of creating some placeholder content. I now have 10 records. I can filter the records if I want by the title, the email address, the various offices and things like this. And I can search the records as well. So that's basically a demo of how you're able to use AI to generate data sources and build screens. As you can see, it took probably about a minute for each request, which isn't particularly fast, unfortunately. And we expect that it's going to get faster. Also, Fliplet's been working hard on building these features, getting them ready for today's demo. One of the tasks that we haven't started to experiment with is how do we optimize these so that they load faster? Okay, let me dive into the next demo. So the next one is a demo of how you can generate app marketing assets with AI. So the key question that lots of our customers ask us is, how do you effectively promote your app? And so we figured it's a tough question, it's a big question. Maybe this is something that AI would be good to help with. So what we've done is we've built an app promotion tool, which can generate app descriptions for app stores, promotional emails, social media posts, Teams and Slack posts, and coming soon, it will be able to not only generate kind of content for the promotion, but also the complete marketing plan, including milestones. The content can be used immediately or tweaked. You can use it for commercial reasons because we're using the OpenAI API, as I mentioned earlier. And ultimately, this will be launched as a standalone web app. You won't be taking this and building it into your apps. So let me show you how this works. So basically, I just tell it about my app. So it's at launch stage. My app is going to be called Project Pro. It's a streamlined project management tool. These are just some placeholder examples. These are the key benefits and features. This is the audience. I'm just going to change this to project managers. I can determine where my app's available. So I'm going to say that this is a web app and it's available at google.com. And I'm just going to say visit our web app as the primary call to action. And what I want it to do is I want it to generate social media post and email. I'm doing this mainly to save a bit of time. So we click submit. And off it goes. Now, again, this is contacting AI. It's passing in all of the information that's included in this form through various prompts. And then we've also worked with AI and external sources to figure out what make a great social media post to promote your app? What makes a great email to promote your app? And we're feeding AI with those examples. And then what it's doing is it's taking the input that a human gave it, the examples that we've given it, and it's merging all of that together, and it's helping to come up with examples. Now, obviously, some of this information could be sensitive, but obviously you can use this feature and pass in non-sensitive information if you just want to gather examples. Now, what's happening in the background is this is generating promotional content. So I'm just going to load up the data source. And as you can see here, it doesn't have any data. I was hoping, it turns out we've been too diligent in clearing out old examples. I was hoping I'd be able to show you something we created earlier, but it turns out my colleagues are very diligent in getting rid of test data for us. So unfortunately, we'll just have to wait a little while. Okay, so it's finished. And so you can see here that it's created some emails and it's created some social media posts. So first thing I can do is I can just say, I only want to see the social media posts. And these are all for Project Pro, which is in launch stage. And then I can click on one and I can see what it suggested. So keep your projects and clients organized with Project Pro, manage tasks, deadlines, and time tracking with ease, generate professional invoices, communicate securely with clients. I love the emoticons. Visit our web app now and take your business to the next level. I can have a quick look at this one. It's again given us a different example. Still loves the emoticons. Maybe we should make that an option, Brett. I'm not sure everybody wants as many emoticons. If we have a quick look at the email it generates, it comes up with a subject for you, Project Pro, the ultimate project management tool for freelancers. And then says, hi, name. As a freelancer, you know how important it is to stay up to date. Here's some features. And you can see it includes the URL as well. And if I then jump over to another example, it says Project Pro, the ultimate, and it says, are you tired of juggling multiple projects? So it's given us a bit of a different template here. So that's our promotional content generator. And I think the really exciting thing about the promotional content generator is also how it gives an example of how our customers might incorporate content generation directly into their apps to generate records for their users. Soon you'll be able to play around with that web app yourself and generate your own promotional content, but also you'll be able to have a look at it, reverse engineer it, and hopefully incorporate some of those capabilities into your apps as well. So what's next? So in Studio, we're going to be building a screen content generator. We're going to be offering a translation feature. We're going to build in more capabilities for generating content related to more complicated features such as quiz. We're going to be building data analysis features, which will anonymously allow AI to analyze your data, including analytics, log data, and data sources. So for example, if you collected survey responses, you could then ignore the personal information, send the rest of the data over to AI and ask it, what's the sentiment? What do people think of my app? What do they like about my app? What do they don't like? Instead of having to analyze 50 records in a data source or a spreadsheet. And we're also going to be building out an app plan generator, an app business plan generator, which is going to work in a similar way to the promotion generator that I just showed you. I'm aware we're running out of time here, so if you need to jump, please do. We might run a little bit over, and of course, if you have any questions while you're leaving that we didn't get to answering, please post them into the QA. I can see that a number of questions have already been posted there, and we will be following up. What's next that we're going to be building into apps? So we're going to be using AI to answer questions about your app's data. We're going to be generating summaries that are relevant to the user. So the user can potentially run a search and will actually display the kind of a summary of the results as well as link to the actual raw data. We're going to be generating data based on the user's preferences. So a user could come along and say, you know what, in this project management app, I want you to generate a project for me that's based around this topic. And it will then generate a set of tasks, helping to avoid the need for customers to bring their own information into Fliplet apps, but also to avoid this kind of blank page problem where people are like, I don't know what I should put here. It'd be great if I had some examples. Midterm, we're going to be looking to automate emails and notifications to users, which we know a lot of our customers really struggle with. It can be difficult figuring out when you should email or send notifications to users, and also what you should communicate. So we'll probably be incorporating that into our products first, and then once we're happy with the results, offering it to our customers. And then long term, where we're going to consider making your app a potential plugin into ChatGPT, Bing, or Bard, depending on how their plugin systems evolve, which means that you wouldn't even need to use your app in order to be able to ask your app questions. And then the other aspect is a voice interface. So instead of having to type to interact with your app, you can now just talk to it, and then AI will interpret what you mean. So if you liked any of these features, you can watch out for the launch. We're going to be launching these very soon. We'll email the attendees of this webinar when we do launch those features. They just need a little bit more polish at the moment, a bit more testing. You can follow us on social media to keep up with our latest updates in relation to our features and events. You can join our community and ask questions about AI right now at community.fliplet.com. Our monthly emails are sent to all Fliplet Studio users, so you can find out about what new features we've launched. And of course, if you're technical, you can explore the Fliplet AI API today. We have a number of upcoming webinars that you might be interested in. So as I mentioned, next week, I'm giving a keynote on will AI replace no-code or low-code tools and their associated capabilities. Mayer Brown, a big law firm, will be giving a case study. We've got a Fliplet roadmap update of all the latest features that we've recently launched and are working on. We've also got demos of our project management, capacity management, and community solution. And as usual, we have a security and compliance update from my colleague, Nick. That's on the 24th of May. We've also got 32 legal emergency management solutions and why your firm needs one, which is a piece of market research that we did that we'll be running a webinar on the 31st of May. We've analyzed the top 200 law firms. We're going to be talking about what apps law firms are using. You can find out more about that on the 7th of June. And we've also done a similar thing. We've analyzed the top 200 organizations in healthcare, and we're going to be running a webinar about the findings of that on the 25th of June. So you can sign up for these at fliplet.com/events. And that concludes our webinar, only 3 minutes over. I think that's a bit of a record for me. I hope that you've had I hope you've enjoyed it, and thank you very much for the questions. We'll definitely be getting back to everybody who's asked questions. I noticed a few of you asked for the terms and conditions links that I referred to. And thank you very much for attending. I hope you have a fantastic day.